everyone, and welcome to Geotab's Wildcard Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Shay Green. I am a learning consultant here at Geotab. For today, we'll be hearing from Yulimar Rojas, one of our senior implementation specialists. She's amazing, and she'll be covering advanced reporting and best use case examples. Before we get started, we did want to give you guys a quick little poll just to learn a little bit more about your comfort level with reporting in My Geotab. We're going to give you guys just a couple of seconds here to start filling that out, so please do. The goal at the end of today is to get you a little more familiar with the best use cases for reporting and give you a lot of resources at the end of this to kind of beef up that skill set for you guys. We want to make sure that you're really comfortable and you feel confident in what you're doing and how you're navigating through My Geotab and the reporting stuff. So we're going to go ahead and close out that poll, and I'm going to just share those results with you guys really quick. So it looks like the majority of you are right in the 5 to 7 range, so you're pretty comfortable, but not 100% solid in your knowledge and comfort level there. So we're hoping that that changes just a little bit after today. With that being said, I'm going to hand things over to Yulimar to get started so we can learn some more. Yulimar, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Shay, and welcome everyone to the Advanced Reporting and Best Use Cases session. As Shay mentioned, my name is Yulimar Rojas, and I work as Implementation Specialist for the Customer Success Department in Geotab. I've been with the company for almost a year now, and what I do is provide training and help the customers to implement the database according to their needs. For today's agenda, I will share my experience as a customer implementation specialist about advanced reports. So hopefully when we can clear out a little bit of your questions today, I will give you an introduction to reports, the challenge of reporting, tips for report customization, and what are the most important aspects to get right with reporting. I would like to start this presentation quoting one of my coworkers here in Geotab. He's actually known as the Excel guru. Her name is Angie Mill, and in one of her amazing presentations, by the way, I encourage everyone to review all of the YouTube videos related to reports. She has some amazing videos in there that you can reference if you want to have a better understanding on a specific Excel customizations. With that said, in one of her amazing presentation, I was saying that she say, just because you bought telematics doesn't ensure you will drive change and see results. And that is what in Geotab we have defined as the cost of ignoring, which can be very high when you try to implement a system that is not producing the results you are expecting. In my personal opinion, the way we can see results is through reports. And in general, reports is a place that we like to have all our data to be able to monitor. Once we have to identify the data and refine it, we can actually take the proper actions according to that information. And of course, we want to be able to inform around that specific information to the corresponding stakeholders in the organization. From my personal experience, I can say the challenge of reporting is not the actual feature itself, but the wrong belief around reporting. When trainers and consultants, and I assume support as well, get to talk to customers about reports, we can identify customers with an unclear goal and customers with a clear goal. When goals are clear, we have a very good understanding of where our fleet level is. We have spent some time reviewing the core reports in the database, so we can actually make some statements like, I want a report capable of tracking the weekly odometer of my vehicle, for example. On the other hand, when goals are not clear, we don't know where to start. And the answer to that is to spend some time on implementing your database correctly. For example, turn on the rules applicable to your plan and let the data run for a week or two. That will give you a good grasp on your fleet behavior. Another common question is, how do the report works? To understand that, we basically need to know that there are Excel templates. We choose Excel because it's something that most people are familiar with. So we can all speak the same universal Excel language, and it's easier to make changes on it. Another common one, and I actually got this one recently, I was afraid of breaking the database. Let me tell you that chances are that never happened. I will encourage everyone today to explore the reports in the database, do the exercise of running the report in summary and detail, standard or advanced, and compare the information you'll find in both. To make the report to work with your data, you will need to follow a few steps and know the difference between a report that is designed to be sent out by email, a report to populate in your dashboard, and a report just to view it from the database. In terms of what report do you need, I will say the key is familiarize yourself with the reports. There is a lot of information in our video gallery, also a lot of guides around reports, and our recently updated Geotab community that you can reference to know what and how to do it. Some of the common requests I hear from my customers are, I want a report to increase the safety of my fleet. That report in particular is lacking of specificity in terms of goal. I will add by how much you want to see this change. We have reports such as our very popular safety scorecard and our top 5 speeding violation that will give you information based on aggressive driving, but the way they populate the data is from different angles. So now the question is, how fast you want to drive change on this behavior and if this is a gradual or radical change. Another good one to have is, of course, the highest engine fault. That will give you a good evaluation of your vehicle health, as well as critical industry segments like right now, first responders. They should have vehicles operative at all times. They can afford roadside breakdowns or roadside failures at this moment. Also, not looking at the faults can have a negative impact on other components of your fleet, like reducing your fuel economy, for example. As another example I have in here, I want a report that shows the mileage and productivity. I will say, again, how often you want to see this information. We have utilization reports, and also we have very detailed report that's gonna provide you information based on the frequency, but also based on the role in your company. Maybe your executive leadership, they don't need to have detailed data. They just need to have summarized data or more trends. Whereas a fleet manager, they need to be on top of what is happening on daily basis on the fleet. With zones in the database as well, we can not only see activity within those areas, but also we can leverage that functionality and see reports like the customer versus non-customer stop duration, which is based on the time card report. And another example, and this one is very common, is I want to track my fuel consumption and also maintenance. Who wouldn't want to do that, right? If you want to focus your cost reduction in this optimization and sustainability pillars, we have reports that show you daily idle cost trends. We have fuel economy reports and also great tools in our marketplace like the Green Fleet Dashboard. On the other hand, if you want to keep track of your maintenance, well, you need to know that you need to set up reminder rules for that. And also, we have this amazing report in our marketplace called Dynamic Vehicle Maintenance Report, which can be sent out by email if there is any like certain mileage or engine hours or days before the next maintenance time to occur. And also if it's overdue as well. To summarize the idea about those examples, the right report to work with your fleet is more a combination to get to know your drivers and their driver habits and what you can do to take the proper actions around that. So here are a few suggestions to implement along with the report to see results faster. Number one, I will say communicate with your drivers. Let them know there is a tracking device to monitor the safety. Promote safety driving habits among employees can reduce the risk of accidents and potential cost. Use the driver safety scorecard as a reward program so you can drive change faster. No one wants to be at the bottom of the list and being labeled as the worst driver in the fleet, right? So a little bit of gamification will going to help you with that. Consider the size of your fleet when setting the frequency of your report. So for example, if you have a fleet of over 400 devices or vehicles, use monthly report. And if you have fleets of 100 devices or vehicles, maybe the weekly reports are more feasible for you. We have talked about this. Set up realistic goals. The real success is not about achieving the goals quickly, but being consistent. Always try to have realistic goals, like, for example, decreasing speeding occurrences by 10% by the end of the quarter. A very unrealistic goal will be decreasing maintenance costs by 50% in the next month. Set up safety alerts. This is something that's going to help you if you want to enable audible warnings and provide feedback to your drivers. Maybe you can use this feature for specific periods and just to correct the behavior and reward the driver with shooting off the alert. A few tips for report customizations, I will say, is to understand the nature of the report. Each report has a specific data on it that we won't be able to combine sometime. Take into account the difference between each tab within a template. When we download the report, we notice that it's going to be a report tab and a summary tab, but also hidden is going to be a data tab, and that is where the raw data resides. So always make sure if you want to unhide that data, the data tab, don't make modifications on that tab and hide the tab once you complete your customizations on the report. The report tab is usually where you do the analysis, and the summary tab is more to organize the data and also to create charts if you want them to populate in your dashboard. If you have that type of reports for your dashboard, always make sure to save the report where the graph is so the dashboard is able to capture the graph. And lastly, what are the most important aspects to get right with reporting? Well, I will say, who are you going to send the report and what is the purpose of it? Sometimes I've seen in customers' databases that they just enable the report for everyone in the organization, and they don't actually need the report. So sometimes the report ends up in a spam box. So let's try to avoid that type of behavior. Base the frequency of your reports on how much change is actually needed. Only include the data you need to report or to take action. And always remember that a good report doesn't leave room for assumptions. I have in here lists of resources that I use for this presentation today, but also a very good resources that you can use to learn more about reports. And if you want to get more in depth of how to do advanced customization, I will recommend these three videos at the very bottom.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yulimar. We do have a request here. Would it be possible for you to jump into the database and just do a quick show of maybe customizing one of those reports on the dashboard?
Yeah, for sure. Basic customization, well, it can be customizing your safety scorecard. There you have a safety scorecard based on last week information. I actually have it in here already. So maybe you want to change the weight on each one of the rules. Always make sure this particular report needs to add up 100% in order to work. So always, if you want to make a change on, let's say, the weight for high acceleration because it's not that important for you, you want to give more importance to speeding, always change that, the weight for speeding then. So now the report will populate based data on this particular configuration you just did. There are some customizations that you can make, for example, in your daily idle cost trend report. So right now we know the oil industry is not doing pretty well. So we know $4 is not the price of the liter. So if you want to make changes on that, always make sure to download the report. Let's open that up. Make the customization of the pricing here. So let's say the price per liter right now, it is $1. So you change that, you save, and just make sure to load that template back into the database. So now the database will know that there is a new fuel price for this report. Some other customizations, I will say maybe creating formulas. I have here my trip history report where with the distance travel, I can calculate odometer at the end of the trip. So maybe just by adding one column here for odometer at the end. And I know this particular report also have odometer at star. So what I will do is just insert another column. And this is where I'm going to use my data tab. So always make sure to go at the bottom, unhide the data tab, and find the specific column that you're looking for from this one. This one should be in here. So this is AJ. So what I'm going to do is just do an operator equal, call the specific row, press enter, bring that information to my report tab, and just click here to make the rest of the data populating here. So now with odometer at star and distance, I can calculate by making a zoom operation. The distance and odometer at star. There you go. So now you have odometer at the end of the trip. There, you just need to click on it to drag the information down to the rest of the column. So this is quite very simple modifications, but I will say you will use it a lot. Again, familiarize yourself with the operators in Excel. That will give you a very good advantage on creating the reports, but also knowing what report data or what data is included on each report. That will help you a lot. I also include that on the resources for today's presentation, so you can actually know what data to have in each one of the reports. Shay,
Perfect.
back to you.
Thank you so much, Yulimar. Can you pull the presentation back up for me? I just want to let everyone know, also included in this presentation on the resources page, because we did get a question about it, if there is a list for all of the existing reports, and that's number 3 there. That's the built-in reports version 1.2. So definitely access that. I have sent that out, the link to today's presentation, in the chat for you guys, so it is available for you to open there. On the next slide and the slide after, we have a little bit of some checklists available for you guys. So just some resources that you guys can use as far as getting back up and running. I know that everyone has been impacted in one way or another by COVID at this point. So we have rule edits for COVID parked vehicles to make sure that your fleet remains healthy. And then if you want to go to the next slide, Yulimar, we also have a post-COVID getting back to work checklist for you guys to review. We're not going to read through all of these on here and bore you guys to tears, but coming May 27th, there is a join link there for you guys for our next Wildcard Wednesday session. We're going to be going over the latest releases for My Geotab as well as Geotab Drive. So if you're not leveraging Geotab Drive, don't worry. We're going to be doing the My Geotab updates very first, so you can attend that portion, and then you can drop off, so you don't have to worry about listening to a bunch of stuff that doesn't apply to you. But make sure that you are joining that session so you know what's coming down the line. And with that being said, if you want to go to that last page there, Yulimar, we're going to move on to some questions. So the first one that we have here, and some of these may be a little in-depth, so we may have to leverage our Soleng guys, but and follow up on those. But first question we have for you here, Yuli, is do you plan to implement a BI reporting tool?
That one, I will say we need to follow up with the Soleng team or the more technical staff. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. And that was my thought. Just wanted to make sure there. The next question was that same question that I referenced earlier of, is there a list of standard reports? And if so, where can they be found? That is included, again, on that resources slide from this presentation. It's that third one for the built-in reports for you guys. The next question that we have is, can we get a copy of the daily idle cost trend report, as the one that was shown from today's presentation seems to have more data than the default one in the marketplace? And so for anyone that does want that report, we'll make sure that a copy of that is included in the follow-up email that you guys will receive. So that way you can get your hands on it pretty quickly. The next question that I have for you here, Yuli, is, are there any restrictions in the use of Power Query with a report template?
The restrictions that I know is that sometimes you need to make sure every time that you do modifications on the template does not include more than 1,000 rows. I think that's the one that I know of. In terms of some other restrictions, maybe we can look into that and let the person who is asking know.
Perfect. Alrighty, next question that we have here. How do you load the new template into the database? Do you have to delete the old report off of the dashboard?
You don't need to. You just need to go into the database and just let me exit that out. You just go in here. Let's say we modify this reporting here. I don't remember if I actually save it, but anyways, the process is gonna be just calling the report setup. We know the report is in the dashboard, so we just need to find the idle cost. This one here, open it and just call the template. You don't need to delete anything. It's gonna be updated automatically.
Perfect. And while we're going through the rest of these questions, I am going to launch another poll just for a minute here because we have a couple of questions that I know we won't be diving into the database for. We just want to get a little bit of information, any of the topics from today's presentation that you guys maybe want to see covered more in depth in future sessions. So take a couple seconds to fill out that poll as we dive into a couple more questions here. The next question that we have here is there a team that customers can contact for creating custom reports? And the answer is yes. First, we strongly suggest reaching out to your reseller directly because they are very skilled in being able to create these custom reports. If those resources are not enough for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to your reseller or to our support team, and they can get you pointed in the right direction and get you a little bit of help there.
There is also a lot of information shared in the Geotab community. There is a lot of customers' experience in there, troubleshooting reports. I use the community a lot for myself. So if you want to refer to the community, that's also helpful.
You read my mind. Yeah, absolutely. The community is a new resource for everybody, so please jump on there. We have everyone from other customers that are super users to resellers and Geotab employees that are verifying answers on there. So you can get a ton of information very, very, very quickly. With that being said, it looks like the voting on our poll has slowed down a little bit, so I'm going to show those results with you guys. Looks like pretty close to the top here, we have productivity and maintenance as our top two. So that's going to be a takeaway for us, and we'll get you some more information on future sessions kind of centered around that information. With that being said, next question we have, does the system have email notification options? For example, another system I was familiar with would notify if speeding over certain parameters were achieved, or even notifications if units are idling way outside of set parameters.
Yeah, definitely. We have email notifications. If you are talking about the policies within the rules configuration, we have multiple options for notifications, including email, as well as we can configure reports if you want to get that notification in a report format. A very good example is the dynamic vehicle maintenance report that only sent out every time that a maintenance is close to be due. So yeah, definitely we have that option.
Perfect. Next question that we have here, how do we know which equations to use in Excel? Is there a cheat sheet that we can reference?
The Mastering Advanced Report video has a lot of commands and equation formats that you can use in Excel. Maybe you can refer to that specific training video. I'm not aware of if there is an cheat sheet for equations in Excel. Do you know, Shay?
I don't think we have a specific cheat sheet currently available, but we'll definitely look into that and follow up with you there if there is one. But those resources on that additional resources tab that are included in this deck will definitely point you guys in the right direction and help you out immensely. Those specific videos that Yulimar referenced earlier with Angie Milne are a fantastic resource. And she goes very in depth on custom reporting, including some of those equations within Excel. So that's something that she does cover in those. Next question that we have, can you help us design a report to indicate fuel theft while the vehicle is with the engine off or is idling? Is that a custom report that could be created?
I will have to take a look and see the specifics on that request. but the fuel consumption will be able to show that information, but I will need to get back to you on that.
Alrighty, next question we have is, for the scorecard, can you make the percentage criteria visible with the graph on the dashboard?
As far as I'm aware of, I don't think so. This one refers to what is the actual fleet classification, if it's low risk, mild risk, or medium or high.
All right, perfect. Next question that we have here, it's speeding alerts email. How do you get the road posted speed limit on the email alert? It just shows an alert that X vehicle has exceeded the limit.
Okay, yeah, maybe you can create a notification template, a custom notification template. So if we go navigate the rules, we have notification template that we can create specifically, and we have these tokens in here where a speed limit is showing. So you might need to create a specific notification template to get more detailed information.
All right, perfect. Next question that we have here, is it possible to create a report to alert drivers to take their 5-hour meal break?
Maybe we can work on that based on rules instead. I don't know if you want to send a report to the driver to alert them to take the break. So maybe we can manage that better with the rules and create the notification for them.
Perfect. Yeah. So we can definitely leverage rules for that option, that particular notification. Also, if you're not leveraging Geotab Drive, it was originally developed for long haul trucking. However, it can also be used as a way for drivers who don't have to fall under the FMCSA guidelines to be able to track their work hours, as well as give break notifications for drivers or for anyone in your fleet. So that is also another option. I would suggest reaching out to your reseller to look into that solution, because the Drive app itself is free to download and utilize. So that is an option for you guys as well. Next question that we have here is, for the dashboard top 5 graphs, is there a way to limit the amount of devices it displays on the graph that have ties? Sometimes we have multiple vehicles that have the same count of exceptions, and the graph will display 10 to 15 vehicles. So is there a way to eliminate, if 2 vehicles have the exact same amount of breaks of the rules, is there a way to limit that to only the top 5?
Yeah, I will have to check. I'm not quite sure. Maybe because the filters apply, that can be one of the reasons. I would recommend to take a look at the filters in this case, for the graph in particular. But yeah, I will have to check what other things you can do to actually show that information according of what you're looking to see.
All right, perfect. Next question we have, is there any documentation on when to use who can see a report? For example, the recipients list or belonging to?
Yeah, there is a lot of information in the community and how to set up, and I guess this particular question is for the email reports. So yeah, the step-by-step is in there actually.
Yep, if you just jump over to the community page and you just start typing in that search box that brief description, you'll actually get auto-populated articles that'll pop up for you there to answer any and all questions that you have. If you aren't able to find a specific article, feel free to post to one of those discussion boards and you will get an answer very, very quickly, I promise. The next question that we have here, can we upload reports with macros?
I think Angie, in that specific mastering session training, she actually explained how to do it.
Next, and it looks like the last question we have for today's session is regarding the over 5 hours of driving rule break reminder. Is it possible to create a custom rule and specify trip duration under the conditions and then have a notification sent to the driver?
Yeah, we actually had that functionality in here. And I think it's under trip distance, trips duration here.
Alrighty, perfect. And I apologize, we had another question come in. So for adding the posted speed limit to a speeding alert, do you mean customize the existing speeding alert rule or make a customized rule?
I will say it's always good to start with the default ones and making modifications in here, but you can also add a rule from scratch that doesn't limitate how you is again how you feel more comfortable creating the rules. If the rule is not configured properly, it's gonna tell you the message here right away. Give it a try to the both. In this one in particular, you have the opportunities to also exclude estimates. So you can actually, you will be filtering the rule and get rid of those possible false positive that the speeding rule can generate, including the estimates. So you can play as well with the row speed provider. It's pretty straightforward to use. Depends again on if you want to base the rule on the speeding one. Maybe you can use this one here and create the customizations from this one here. Again, this one includes all the poster row speed. So it's going to be a little bit complicated to make additions based on this, but it will be up to your level of confidence, I will say.
Alrighty, perfect. Thank you so much, Yulimar. That is actually going to make that a wrap for this week's Wildcard Wednesday. If you had any questions that we needed to loop the SOL engineers in on this, we will reach out to you directly with those answers, so don't worry. I want to thank Yulimar for joining us today and sharing this presentation. If you guys have any further questions regarding today's topic, please don't hesitate to reach out to your reseller or your account manager. Make sure to leverage the community as well as the additional resources included in today's presentation. But until next time, I'm Shay Green, and I want to thank everyone for joining us on today's Wildcard Wednesday. We'll see you guys next time. Same Geotab time, same Geotab channel. Thank you so much, everybody.